What we'll go over this evening is just a quick overview of the Apprentice program, kind of the program's goals, the process of the application, some tips for the application, and then answering any questions y'all may have about the program. Let's see. So the goal of the program is to really get students engaged with storytelling within the community, but also introducing them to the way that museums and nonprofits work, with the idea of this is a career path that isn't maybe one that you think of immediately. So you never know kind of what path is going to take you into museum work. So this is a good introduction as a consideration point, but also really just a skills building activity for the kids. And we focus on the mentorship of the students through their projects, and then them conducting their own projects here at the History Center. All right, so who can apply for the Apprentice program? You just need to be in high school, 9th through 12th grade. You can be enrolled in public, private, or even homeschool. We also aren't restrictive to be just Thomasville or Thomas County. Last year, we had one student from Tallahassee, and we've already had an application for a student from Tallahassee to join this new class. But we do cap it at 8 students. It's just more manageable. There will be 2 of us running the program here from the History Center. So keeping up with communication, excursions, and that kind of thing, 8 is just a much more manageable number for us. In the future, that could grow, but we'll see. So what are we going to do? They're going to get a really up close and kind of behind the scenes look at the History Center and how it operates. They're going to learn how museums and nonprofits in Thomasville work, and then just in general. We do have scheduled 2 meetings per month, and they're generally the first Tuesday and the 3rd Saturday of the month. Now, because we know that these children are so incredibly scheduled and have so many extracurriculars and things like that, we do have some expectations. If they cannot attend, they will all be expected to join the Google Classroom, and there will be a voice recording of Mimi or myself of whatever the lesson or discussion is for that night. They'll be expected to watch it, answer a few questions just to show that they've done it and they've participated and are engaged. We're also going to be working on some alternatives to excursions. So if you can't make it on those field trips in the spring semester, because I know that's when a lot of extracurriculars really ramp up, we'll have alternative museum experiences that you can do. So we'll be building up this list of really just virtual museum visits that they can do that'll still be introducing themselves to the different sites and operations, but also going beyond Thomasville and Thomas County to more regional and national museums, and even beyond if they wanted to. Each apprentice will be expected to complete the capstone project in the spring. They'll submit their project idea by the early December. They've got to get a bit of an introduction by then. And then really the first year apprentices, you're not going to be expected to build an entire exhibit or something like that. Really what you're going to be doing is you're going to be proposing this larger project for the History Center. Last year, we had students propose an exhibit on a photographer from Thomasville named A.W. Mahler. We had a student propose a social media plan for the History Center of ideas and things that we could do. So it's more so showing that they have an understanding of what museums need and what we're not doing here that we could be doing. Biggest part of the program itself is that it is presented free of charge. The kids may have to get themselves to excursions, especially in the first year locally, but we will have the option that they could ride with myself or Mimi if that is needed to be arranged. So again, as I said, if you have to miss, we're going to record all of the meetings and presentations, and we'll put them up in the Google Classroom to be counted present. They're just going to have to complete the watch quiz within a week of that meeting day. So it just shows us that even though they can't be there, they're still checking in and they're still participating in some way. They are expected to have a number of volunteer hours for the month, but all meetings, excursions, all of that counts towards it. So it's something that's easily attainable. And then again, excursions can be made up by completing a digital visit to another institution. So yeah, sure.
So when you meet twice a month, that counts as hours.
as well as anything and above.
Okay.
So they can also get hours by volunteering at a History Center event. They can get hours by volunteering at another organization event in town. To come in the History Center and work on a couple specific apprentice projects that we'll have to the side. It may be something like transcribing a document, helping to photograph collections items, you know, whatever. But just come in a little bit, because what we've found is when they can't get in as much, they're less familiar. So when it gets time to the capstone, they are less willing to reach out to one of the staff members for help to help make their project better, because they don't feel comfortable with us, because they may not have met all of us. There are 4 of us here at the History Center. So by having them hopefully be able to come and interact with us outside of just those specific excursions or meetings, it gets them more comfortable and more willing to go deeper on their capstone. So we will definitely be going to Pebble Hill Plantation, the Jack Hadley Black History Museum, and we may toss in another 1 or 2 in the spring. It just depends. So for this first year, we really try and keep it local. And we are also kind of a offshoot of those digital excursions. Luckily, the 4 of us have a lot of museum connections, just, you know, across the region, across the state, and across the country, just from our own experiences. So we've been reaching out to people that we know that are in different museums, different types of institutions, and we're going to have them try and Zoom in on meetings with us occasionally for quick convos. And then some of them we may pre-record as, you know, like lightning round questions. How did you get into the museum field? All that, just to help give some additional perspectives. So again, volunteer hours, we're suggesting a total of 8 to 10. Sometimes that's going to be really hard. We know everybody has commitments, but once you get into working on their capstone, that time spent working on capstone counts as hours. They'll be expected to log those hours on a Google form. You can do it as you complete it, or you can do it once a month. It just gives us a rolling total. So this is just an example. If you attend the Tuesday seminar for the month, you get an hour. If you attend the Saturday seminar, that's 2. You work on your capstone project for 3 hours, and then maybe you volunteer at a History Center event like Perlu, Crate to Plate, or something like that, and that's another 2 hours. You've hit your hours for the month. Now, we don't necessarily have penalties for students not meeting their hours, but there may or may not be a conversation of, hey, what's going on in your schedule? Where can we maybe find a little extra time and figure out if there's a way, just to make sure that they're still engaged with the program as we go through. So your capstone project, again, this first year, it is a proposal for a project. So you can propose an activity, a lecture, etc. The list is kind of infinite, whatever their curiosity is within the field. It doesn't necessarily even have to be a history museum. If you're more interested in art, you're more interested in science or natural history, we can try and cultivate those opportunities for you. So the 4 members of the History Center staff, myself, Mimi Hand, who's our assistant curator, and she will be kind of the second person helping to run Apprentice this year. And then we've also got Anne and our curator, Ephraim. So in some way, shape, or form, they will be interacting with all members of staff, but most likely myself and Mimi most frequently. So application deadline, August 26th to submit, and they can submit either paper application or the digital Google form. We will tell everybody by September 16th whether they are definitely in or not. In general, because we have kind of that lower number, depending on how many apply, most children and most students who do apply will be in the program, but we will take a good look at, you know, extracurriculars and things like that, and maybe have a conversation and say, hey, are you sure you can actually fit this in your schedule, kind of based on what they have going. We don't want this to become a drain or affect classwork. We want this to enhance and supplement more so. So the first meeting of the year 1 students would be Tuesday, October 4th. Our second year, so our returning apprentices, will begin meeting in September. That's just because they don't have to go through the application process. They've already done that. So they'll be back with us a little earlier. So application is on our website. Excuse the dates, that is left over from last year, but it is the updated Google form online. You can also, I believe, download the application from there. We are asking for a teacher recommendation. It just kind of, again, gives us a sense of, what their interests are. And plus it's a good skill to build, especially heading into college applications. Can you ask an adult in your life to give you a positive recommendation and follow through? So that shows us a little bit too. Some tips. Try and use complete sentences. We want this to be in your voice. Be yourself, but maybe don't say, hey dude, pick me. I might take a second glance at that one. We may look at your social media. So if there's things that you don't want your mom or your grandma to see, probably shouldn't be on there anyway, because we're going to look and we will ask you questions because we're nosy. Email or text me with questions. My information is on the application. If you want to, you can have somebody else proofread. If you want to take a look at kind of what questions are going to be on there, I'd recommend downloading that application first. Maybe write a couple practice sentences if you think you want to. That's your choice. Really, we're just trying to get a sense of what interests you and why are you interested in the program, because that may help us to target some of our discussions and conversations about what interests you. So, teacher recommendations. I would suggest a teacher that has known you for about 2 years, knows your strengths, how you overcome weakness, maybe give them a list of accomplishments or skills that may qualify you for this opportunity, and try and give them as much time as possible to submit it. You don't need to see a copy of it. There is trust involved, but you can direct them to our website and it will come straight to us. Nobody else will see it but me or I. Let's see, is there anything else? In general, if you can't go to school because you're sick, you can't come here. Common sense, all of that. There may be instances where we're going on an excursion and one of our partners asks that visitors wear a mask. We will usually provide that just in case, but we'll try and give everybody advance notice as needed.